Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority.
8:37 on the Morning Majority. Brian Neiman and Mary Catherine Ham here in D.C. Brian Wilson on the road in Florida. I am
driving down the highway.
Nice. I am emceeing a dinner, the Susan B. Anthony List Campaign for Life Gala on Wednesday, but that's not the important news. The important news is that I'm super excited to hear Senator Marco Rubio speak there. He's the keynote speaker. How's it going, Senator?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want to ask you about this great speech you gave at the Hispanic Leadership Network later in the interview, but first I want to start with the campaign. The Politico today, including you in a list of people they call non-endorsing endorsers, partly because you stuck up for Mitt Romney against Newt Gingrich's ad where he used the anti-immigrant term to describe Mitt Romney. Do you think that's a fair characterization? And do endorsements matter in this last day when Floridians are deciding?
Yeah, a couple things. I don't think endorsements are as important in presidential races, especially. Certainly not in Florida. Floridians have strong opinions, and no one's going to tell them how to vote. Certainly didn't get involved for the purpose of trying to influence the election. I feel strongly about that term, and I'll tell you why. I think the vast majority of Americans agree that our existing immigration setup doesn't work and it has to be fixed. The problem is there's these people out there on the left who say that unless you agree with their specific ideas about how to fix immigration, you're anti-immigrant, and I don't accept that. That would be equivalent to me saying that everyone who doesn't agree with me on Cuba policy is a communist. There's a lot of people that don't agree with me on Cuba policy, not because they're Castro sympathizers, but because they think there's a better way to do it. And likewise on immigration, I think the vast majority of Americans want to see it fixed and improved, but also understand that we can't be the only country in the world that doesn't have immigration laws and doesn't enforce them. And there's these people on the radical left who are basically going around telling people in the Hispanic community that unless someone agrees with their specific ideas, with their exact plan, they're anti-immigrant. So I think that's a term that we Republicans and conservatives need to stay away from.
All right, having said that, there's been a lot of negative ads in Florida the last couple of days and weeks, really. Do you think this will impact the Republican nominee at the end of the day? Is this going to damage the party and damage the nominee?
Sure, especially if the line of attack is identical to the one Barack Obama is going to use a few months from now. Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things I'm very concerned about, but there's nothing we can do about it.
Well, you mean we could maybe not have some of these negative ads being run?
I'm not talking about you and me and those of us who are concerned about them. There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, if someone's concerned about it, what can we do other than, negative ads have become a part of American politics, unfortunately. I don't necessarily, everyone says they don't like them, but everybody does them. So we just kind of, it just is what it is, and I would the election because the economy on the fact that people.
Yeah, we're losing your signal there. I think we lost him. We'll try to reconnect with Senator Rubio. We got Senator Rubio back on the phone. Senator Rubio, are you there?
I'll tell you who my carrier is, but boy, I'm tempted to.
Maybe we can have a bill in Congress to fix that someday down the road.
I'm not even moving. I'm standing still, so there's no reason why my phone should be dying, but that's another issue.
Are you optimistic about picking up seats in the U.S. Senate in 2012? I am very optimistic, and we have reason to be. A lot of these folks that got elected as Democrats in this cycle are people 6 years ago that ran in the wave that was going on in 06. They're not going to have that wave. In fact, they may be facing a counter wave to what they rode in on. So I'm confident that if things go well and we continue on our message, that we have a very good chance of being the majority party in the Senate.
Senator, you gave a speech to the Hispanic Leadership Network this weekend, partly about the immigration issue, and you made an interesting point calling it a gateway issue, that it's hard to get through that issue for Republicans into the economic empowerment discussion, which you think is a great way to speak to Latino voters.
Yeah.
In Florida, are any of the Republican candidates making any headway in that area?
I hope so, but again, it is a gateway issue in terms of, when you talk about immigration to Hispanic voters, you're talking about their mother, their father, their grandfather, their parents, their husband, their neighbors, people they love. So it's not the number one issue on the mind, but boy, is it hard to talk to them on the other issues if that one's not, one that they have a good feeling about. And for us, we don't have to be the pro-illegal immigration party. We just need to be the pro-legal immigration party and make it very clear that we believe legal immigration is an important part of our future, and we'll do everything we can to protect that.
Senator?
Yes.
It's Brian Wilson. I'm on the road and headed towards Pensacola to a Gingrich event. The Tea Party down here, the Tea Party Express is holding an event later today. They seem to be lining up behind Gingrich. There's another press release that's out from Tea Party officials that say, let's keep this thing going for a while. How do you feel about those positions being taken by the Tea Party?
Well, again, first of all, there are a lot of Tea Party organizations. I don't think any single one of them speaks for all of them. That being said, it's pretty clear that Speaker Gingrich has been able to excite a lot of people in the Tea Party movement with his message, and so I think it gives them viability. I think it's what's helped them at this point, and I think they have every right to be involved. I think they make the party stronger. I think having these groups involved and engaged is going to make our party stronger. The last thing you want is for people to feel like their voice doesn't matter and their opinions being ignored. We need everybody on board in November. That's why we have a primary now, though. And
let me ask one more question. How about the early voting? How will that impact the total outcomes tonight or tomorrow?
Well, Florida's become a significant early voting state in terms of the number and percentage of people that vote before Election Day. So we don't have a primary day. We have like a primary week. And plus the absentee ballots that start even before that. So it really elongates the process, makes it more expensive, quite frankly, but also takes away any excuse from people not being able to vote. So I'm an early voter, for example. I voted early on Saturday.
Senator, one last question. We complain sometimes on this show about mainstream media coverage of Republicans. You experienced what I would call maybe a historically bad coverage the other day when Reuters' story alleged that you voted against Obama's health care bill, despite the fact that you were not yet in the Senate. They have since then issued 5 corrections on that story. Are you seeking any others?
Not really. I actually would have voted against it had I had a chance, though. So
right.
Fine. But no, that story was silly in multiple fronts. Although it had, I'm not really holding a grudge against them or anything like that. I don't think they did it on purpose. I do think it's interesting that they find ground to criticize me, or at least say that somehow there's something wrong with me because my finances look more like the finances of the people I represent than the people that I serve with. Yes, I have a mortgage on my house. Who doesn't? My house is worth less than it used to be because my next door neighbor passed away and his house was foreclosed on. So it impacted everybody. And I have a student loan. So when they talk about these issues in Washington, it isn't something I read about in a magazine. It's something that I live, and I think it makes me a better senator. So I'm not sure that in a week where Mitt Romney's being accused of being too rich, I guess I'm being accused of being too poor. I don't know. I guess there must be like some exact wealth that makes you okay to run for office.
Senator Rubio, it's great to have you on. Thanks very much. We appreciate your time.